have you guys here with us today, and our great, great guest, Michael Pickle. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good.
So tell us about yourself. Tell the audience.
Right now, I am a horror filmmaker. I started out as a musician in my career, and I got into filmmaking late in my career, at about in my 30s. And I actually had dreams of being a musician, and then I went into a haunted asylum and had a really frightening paranormal experience, and that inspired me to write a script. And I've been a filmmaker ever since. I was bitten by the filmmaking bug, and I have a new feature film coming out pretty soon called The Dead Place. It stars David Howard Thornton from the Terrifier movies.
Mm. So what was your experience at this asylum that changed your whole path?
Well, my friend and I had went into this, it's called Rancho Los Amigos Asylum in Downey. It was a former asylum, with like a live-in asylum with its own livestock and a farm and stuff. So apparently a lot of shady things went on there, treatment of the prisoners and stuff, of the patients and stuff. So it was shut down in the 30s. So there'd been rumors that it was haunted for years, and I'd seen a few videotapes of people going in there. So me and my friend decided to go in there, and yeah, so we went into the auditorium section of it, and we went down into this little basement. It was a little stone basement, no windows or anything, just a closed in. It was dank down there. You could tell it had been closed for a while. And then we started to descend down the stairs, and it started this vicious growling coming from the darkness. It sounded like something huge. So my curiosity got the best of me. I just went ahead and went down the stairs. And when I got down to the bottom, there was nothing in there, and there was no place for an animal to escape. It was just this disembodied, loud, vicious growling. You can hear it on the YouTube video that we made. But when we left there was this dread, just this black cloud hanging over me, like something really bad was going to happen. And I went to bed with this heavy feeling that night, and then I went to sleep in my daughter's bed, because my daughter had went to lay down with my wife in our bed. I didn't want to wake them up, so I just went to sleep in my daughter's bed. And I woke up the next morning, I was fully awake, and I heard voices all around my bed. And I closed my eyes and tried to put it out of my mind. And when I closed my eyes, well, I was laying on top of a conference table, and several people from my life, some living, some dead, were sitting around the table, and they were discussing how I should be committed to an asylum. And I was trying to yell at them to stop. I was trying to get it out of my head, and my wife comes in. She hears the ruckus. She comes in and she sits on the bed and tries to talk to me. I can't hear her because the voices are louder than she is. So she leaves the room. I try to close my eyes again to put it out of my mind, and demons jump into my face. It's these flesh and blood, just snarling, nasty demons. And then the harder I tried to put it out of my mind, the more they would gnash their teeth in my face, and just I could feel their breath in my face. And then I went to open my eyes, and they were sitting on the bed with me. There's these two demons sitting on each side of me. It was just as real as my hand in front of my face. It just the most frightening experience of my life. My wife comes in with the Bible, and everything stops. The voices stop. The demons are gone. And nothing like that happened before, and nothing like that has happened since. So I don't really know if something followed me home. I don't know if it was a psychotic delusion, but both explanations are frightening to me. Like, how could my mind conjure such real images, and where I could feel their breath on my face, and I could see them so clearly and hear them so clearly, and for them to be louder than the person that's in the room. So I just really don't know what happened that morning, but ever since then, I just had this burning need to tell this story. This story kind of blossomed out of this idea. I just got this little seed of a story just from this experience, and that kind of blossomed into a full trilogy. And I knew I couldn't film it myself as a beginner filmmaker. I was just a musician at the time. Nobody knew me as a filmmaker. So I embarked on the journey of just learning and creating my own little short films with no budget. I did a TV show, some music videos. So finally ended up pulling the Dead Place back out and started on it, and it's completely blown up. I can't believe the support that's behind this movie now.
It's wonderful, wonderful.
I actually saw the YouTube video, Michael. You sent it to me like a few years back, and you can hear stuff, and it did look really eerie. You know, I picked up that energy just from looking at the video. So just putting that out there, that was absolutely. Now,
yeah, there was some like groaning throughout the video that wasn't there when we were there. We didn't even hear it until we got back home and listened to the videotape.
Wow. Yeah, that's usually what happens. It's like you get the experience there, and then when you come back, you get a whole other experience.
Yeah, when you read back to tapes or you hear audio, you didn't hear it at the moment, you know, and then later on. Do you feel like that experience like really kind of traumatized you?
It definitely did, because I couldn't even speak about it for years. I mean, I can talk about it pretty easily now because I'm so used to it now, but it was a good 10 years before I could even say anything about it. And I'd always been interested in the paranormal my whole life. I'd always explored abandoned places, and I was always hungry for a paranormal experience. And then once that happened, I said, I don't want any more paranormal experiences.
You're like, you're done. You're done.
Yeah.
I've been there, done that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your new movie that inspired this?
Well, it's about a kid. Like it starts out like a Sixth Sense type of movie. Like it's a high school kid. He's kind of plagued by these spirits that walk around him, and they're doing nothing but gravitating towards him because he can see them, and they're trying to communicate with him, and he's just scared to death of them. So it causes a lot of turmoil at school, a lot of turmoil in his family, a lot of problems there. And then David Howard Thornton comes into play as he's like the personification of the demon. Like he's a soul that was snatched from the moment of death. He was a really a sadistic child killer. So he was snatched from the moment of death to kind of do this demon's bidding. So he constantly hounds the main character and torments him and tells him to give in to the voice in his head, which is telling him to kill, because this demonic force knows that the spirits are attracted to the main character, so they latch onto him so they can feed off of those souls.
Wow, that's awesome.
So
that is awesome. Sounds very, very interesting, spooky, and the type that I'll be going like, no, even though I do paranormal stuff.
I can't wait to see it. I'm super excited for you and happy for you, and congratulations on the project. When do you expect like this to be out, or you're like on production right now?
We pretty much finished filming it. We now have a finishing funds campaign up where we're trying to get some money for post-production. Like we're doing some color correction on it, but we want to get some professional color correction. We want to get a musical score with real instruments, and we want to get a professional sound designer and all that. So when all is said and done, if everything goes right, we want to release it Halloween of this year. Fingers crossed.
Perfect.
That's pretty good energy. Do you have an Indie GoFundMe that you want to share with us?
Yeah, there's an Indiegogo going on right now. It's called, if you just go on Indiegogo and type in the Dead Place Finishing Funds campaign, you'll see it.
Right there?
I think so, yeah.
Yes. So this way people can just find it when they watch this show.
And there you'll see the teaser trailer there, and there's also the posters, the official poster, and there's a lot of movie stills from the movie, so you can get a little glimpse into what the movie's going to look and sound like.
Ooh.
Yes, exciting stuff. Now you also have an amazing podcast that I was lucky enough and honored to have been a guest on, Ghostman and Rivera Horror Show. So you want to tell us about that and your co-host?
That podcast kind of rose from a variety show that I had. It was on a Roku channel in 2019, and I had created this variety show as like a Saturday Night Live type of thing for horror fans, where we came on and did like James and I did like the Siskel and Ebert of horror. So we'd go on there and critique movies as if we horror movies as if we were Siskel and Ebert, and then we get into little horror hijinks and stuff where we'd get mixed up with a cult or some kind of paranormal experience. But and then we partnered with Gargoyle Media, and we just did a bunch of skits, and we covered horror conventions and stuff like that. So we kind of created the podcast to get attention for the show, because the show was on a network for about 7 years, which never launched. They kept telling us that they were going to give us a share of the profits and everything when we launched, and they didn't launch for 7 years while we worked for them. So we finally left them and went to this Roku channel, and then we partnered with Gargoyle Media and started doing these skits and stuff for no budget, just for using our own resources, and we signed a 40% revenue share contract with them. And then after bringing their channel from about 10,000 viewers to about 4 million just in 2019, we didn't see a dime from it. So all that, spending of all my resources, I felt that was a huge hit on me as a filmmaker, because I gathered all my resources together and I told everybody, we're going to get paid from this. I signed a contract. So everybody came and worked for free, and then nothing came out of it. So I was really in
and stuff. You have to support the family, and you're putting your resources in something else. That's really hard.
So because the show was in so much turmoil like that, we kind of kept the podcast going, and then the podcast is what led us into casting David Howard Thornton as the villain, because we were very early in the podcast. We didn't even have that many listeners yet, and he was nice enough to come on. And we got quite a few viewers after he came on. But I found out about his theater background, and I realized he was such an animated character outside of his Art the Clown persona. So that's what got us into talking about him being in the Dead Place. So it all kind of happened in a weird way and kind of all came together.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Blessings in Disguise came out of it.
Huh?
Blessings in Disguise came out of it.
Sorry, I didn't hear that last part. What?
I said it was a blessing in disguise that came out of it.
Yes.
So now can people find you on Facebook also?
Yeah, there's the Dead Place Facebook group. We're a little family on there. Everybody gets on there and interacts a lot. You can also go to my personal page. Just search my name, Michael Pickle, and we post all the latest updates and everything there.
Okay. That's perfect.
And what's amazing to me is Sarah kind of predicted all this. Sarah gave me a reading. I was working on a movie called Voodoo Village at the time. These guys approached me with the seed of an idea, and they asked me to write a script. And I wrote it, and I was very proud of it. And we were in the midst of pre-production, and I got a reading from Sarah. And I asked her about the movie I was working on. She said, no, I don't see anything about that here. I see something about an old project that you started on a long time ago. She said, I see you taking that and starting that up again. And she said, I see it blowing up into this thing that's bigger than you imagine. And she kept saying, whoa, Michael, what I see here is just amazing. Wow. And everything's kind of falling into place exactly like she said, without me even trying. Like I wasn't even working on this movie when she said that. It's just amazing to me.
Oh, she's good. She's good.
Make me cry, Michael. Thank you.
Now, we could also find you at Pickle's Horror Show.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'll put that up for people to see also. All right. So
go ahead.
How did you get? I know that you were a musician, and what got you to be a musician? You know,
Which, by the way, we still have to do karaoke together, as promised.
Yeah. Well, I've always wanted to be a singer my whole life, but I always said I wanted to be a singer, an actor, and a screenwriter.
Okay.
So I've done all of it now. I'm gonna kind of settled into filmmaking, but I got into music when I came out here in '95. I was living in Mississippi at the time. We moved to Mississippi when I was 12 years old, and then I moved out of there when I was 24 in 1995, and then I came out here, and I kind of it was a big culture shock to move out here first of all, and I kind of immersed myself in the Gothic club culture and everything for a while, and then finally I auditioned for a band. It was a progressive metal band, and then after that we started playing shows all over Southern California and Anaheim, Hollywood, and we got a decent little following, and I came up with a short film for one of our videos, and I used to do stuff like I would splice horror films together, and I would take our set list, and I would keep in mind the ebb and flow of the set list, when there was soft songs, when there was heavy songs, and kind of cut these horror film scenes to kind of fit our set. So I used to play those behind us, and then I came up with a short film idea for one of our videos, and the guys just didn't take it seriously, and they didn't really see what I was going for. They didn't see the whole short film angle of it, and they just kept not showing up for the shoot. And I would have a cameraman there and an actress to play my girlfriend and everything, and they just wouldn't show up, wouldn't take it seriously.
Wow.
So it kind of really got me thinking. And then when I had that paranormal experience at the asylum, that kind of sealed the deal. I kind of had another project to kind of jump into after I left music.
Can you tell us about the extended scare package?
Yeah, that was a skit that we made for the TV show called Extended Scare Package. It's about a couple that goes to a haunt, and then one of the haunt actors follows them home.
Oh.
And that was in our show. Sorry, my light's going out. Anyway, that was in our TV show. So then Joe Bob Brigg had a festival, had his first like drive-in movie festival in Philadelphia. So we just sent that in just to see what would happen, and he chose it. So we got to travel to Philadelphia and watch the movie on the big screen with Joe Bob and everything, and we kind of got a distribution deal on my first feature film. After that, we're just waiting for a release date on that one.
Wow.
Congratulations. That's amazing. Yes. What an honor. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
That's good. And I saw you posting about that a while back. I was like, oh my God, how exciting for these guys. So that's amazing.
Oh, and I'm a huge fan of Joe Bob. So I credit him with a lot of things that are happening in my career right now, because after Extended Scare Package got chosen by him, I was kind of deemed worthy by the indie horror community. Yeah. And people started being really interested in what I was doing.
Yeah. Now, do you ever plan on investigating again, or is it like a done deal? No more paranormal for you?
Well, I'd like to. I'm back into being curious about it now. And we actually went to Ventura a while back. That's one of my favorite places to go as far as haunted places. There's about 11 haunted places in downtown Ventura. Oh. And we went a while back and stayed at the Bella Maggiore Inn. Unfortunately, it's closed down after COVID. Oh. But we went to Bella Maggiore Inn, and apparently a hooker was killed there in room 17, or what? She hung herself in the closet in room 17 in the 30s. So we went to stay in her room, and we kind of used the Ouija board that night. And I stood in the floor, and I felt a cold spot. And I kind of went toward the cold spot, and I felt it coming towards me. And it felt like she pressed up against me. I could feel like a cold presence, like press up against me from my head to my toe. So that happened just a few months ago.
Oh, wow. Is there anywhere else you'd really like to go investigate one day, or? Was that good enough? That was good enough.
Pretty much any place. I mean, I was scared for a good 10 years to do it again, but I'm back into full curiosity mode, you know, and maybe even get some ideas for some more movies.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned your experience. Have you ever had another experience, another paranormal experience like that?
Well, my fascination with the paranormal began when I was little because my mom said that my grandfather appeared to her when I was in her stomach. She said that my grandfather, that he had several heart attacks and he died while my mother was pregnant with me.
Oh my
So
gosh.
she would cry just pitifully day and night, where she couldn't even function. She couldn't even get up out of bed. And the doctor said she was about to lose me and everything. Said she was just laying there in bed crying one night, and he just came to the doorway, and his frame just filled the whole doorway. And so he stood there and pointed at her stomach and said, "You don't worry about me anymore. I'm okay." He said, "You worry about that little guy in your stomach." And she didn't even know it was going to be a boy.
Oh
But
wow.
you worry about that little guy in your stomach. So that always made me fascinated with the paranormal and made me think that maybe there was something special about me that
Yeah.
my grandfather felt the need to save me like that.
Yeah. Now, what about the family? Like, is your family like down with the paranormal too, or with the horror stuff?
No, they're always scared and a little freaked out. Like when I started using a Ouija board, they would just beg me to throw that thing away because
Oh,
I I made a Ouija board myself. Like I took a piece of plywood and just sanded it off and painted the letters on it. So I would use that myself, and they would constantly try to take it away from me. And my brother even took it from me one time. I was a little addicted to it.
mhm.
Uh, because I'd started using the Ouija board with friends, and then it would guess their little league football numbers, like ridiculous facts. It would say my friend's grandfather's name that I had no way of knowing his
Yeah.
name. So I would kind of fascinate my friends with it like that, and then it kind of graduated into me using it by myself. And
Yeah.
then I lost my glasses one time, and I asked it where my glasses were, and it said windowsill. And I said, "No, I've looked on every windowsill in the house. I looked all over the house." And then my niece comes up from the back bedroom with my glasses in her hand, and she was like 3 or 4 years old, and she holds them up, and I got her. Said, "Where'd you find them?" And she went back and pointed at the windowsill. She found them in the windowsill.
Wow.
So
That
it kind of started serving me like that. So I kind of became addicted to just going
yeah.
on. I talked to this spirit called Ed Rado. I had a little rapport going with him, and then my parents told my brother to go take it away and burn it in the wood heater one time. He took it away and put it in the wood heater, and it was fully on fire. And without even thinking, I reached into the fire and pulled it out.
Oh my gosh.
And just when I came to my senses and realized what I was doing, I just
You
threw
just
it out
let
in
it
the woods and never seen it again.
go.
So
I did something like that when I was younger. Like, I started divination work since I was 12. So as best as I could. So me and one of my dear friends, I'm still friends with her. At 12, 11, we would like make our own tarot cards out of like just normal paper and write it. And we'd make our own little Ouija boards out of like little wood pallets and paint them. And her mom was amazing. She was all up for it. So we would do our little seances and go to little cemeteries. We thought we were like the coolest. It just kind of
uh,
grew from there.
I was always the little ghoul in my family. The one
I was
always
a very
always.
weird child, and I grew up to be a weirder adult. Yeah.
I was always reading the horror comics or some kind of horror novel or going and visit some haunted place.
Oh my
Mm.
gosh. Now, are you guys still doing the podcast, or is it on hiatus to do these other projects?
Yeah, it's kind of went on hiatus. We had planned on continuing the podcast throughout the production process, but
Mhm.
oh man, it just became way
Yeah,
way too
it's a lot of work.
challenging.
Yeah, awesome. Now, I read in your bio that you also plan on doing a second and third part for the Dead Place, and it's already done. How awesome is that? Can you
Yeah,
tell us a
because
little bit?
I had written it all into one big epic script,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
I had these grand delusions of filming this big epic horror film. And then along the road, while I was learning, I had a prominent director kind of approach me and ask me if I had anything that he could make his next project. And I told him about the story, and he loved the story. And I gave him the treatment for it, and he loved it. He loved the treatment and everything. And then I gave him the script to read, and he gave it back to me and he said, "Michael, there's no way an independent horror director could make this movie. There's no way you could raise enough money to make this movie." He said, "You're exploring 3 entirely different themes." And I said, "Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. I kind of wanted to start in one realm and kind of graduate into another and end up in another and explore all these different themes." And then after he told me that, it really got me to thinking. I'm like, well, it does explore these 3 entirely different themes, and it kind of touches on them. What if I split them up into a trilogy and I could really deeply explore each one of those themes? So that's how I did. So the first one is like a coming of age story. The second one's going to be like a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest kind of misunderstood.
Favorite movies, by the way, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's movie. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. And then the last one is going to be like an abandoned asylum, paranormal investigation bloodbath.
Perfect. It came full circle, Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like amazing. Amazing. I can't wait. You really have to let us know when they're all out.
Yeah, you have to come back on and promote all of them when they're out, when you're, done with them.
Oh, I have a feeling that they are going to be big, Michael. I think Sarah was perfectly correct. Going to be very big because there's, you see the lines for regular horror movies. These sounds very involved, and the whole thing that it's 3 parts that will keep them coming and like wanting more. So it's perfect.
And best of all, it's already, so you don't really have to worry too much. A little tweaking here and there, whatever, but it's done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and the horror genre is thriving right now, but there's a lot of B movies out there. There's a lot of sequels there's a lot of remakes and a lot of movies based off other movies. I'm just excited to bring a fully original trilogy to the world.
Exactly. That's I can't wait. I think I'm going to be one of the first ones there.
Yeah.
Cool.
The movies.
Me and Mike, I can't look. No. It's funny though. I like Sarah, I could go anywhere and sleep anywhere that's haunted, be anywhere that's haunted, whatever. I don't know if it's the music and everything else. I go into a horror movie, I'm like,
I mean, I have my points. Like, I'm terrified of viruses, and we're in the middle of pandemic, so here we, so it's a give and take. Like, I'm a hypochondriac. So I think all the years of being terrified of viruses, like that was just a boot camp for the Rona, because
oh Lord, that's funny. So I know you said you had that, kind of going back a little bit, you had that campaign going, which I want to promote again, want people to know about it, and I want people to see if they, can contribute, because this is original. This is not secondhand. It's not copying or based on somebody else's story. And I'm hoping that our audience really gets deep down into this and starts promoting this kind of stuff and start supporting this kind of stuff, because we're at a time where we really need original stuff out there. How many times can you see the same guy get killed? How many times can you see the same guy come back as a mummy? It's like, or a zombie, whatever the case may be. So this sounds amazing. I'm really looking forward to it.
Indie films, which I love and fully support, because I know how much work goes into that. So yeah.
Right. And so I'm gonna also give your information there so people can look you up, and just keep sending people over to you, because I believe this is a great project. this is definitely a great thing coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you-
and the piece of people that have gathered around it and made it such a family and made it something special, you know. And what I see is the first time I'm in my career where I see take after take, and it looks just like it did in my head or better. Just because I just chose the right cast. I really wanted to go by my instinct on this one and really
Mhm.
fight for the cast that I got, because
Mhm.
people were telling me no left and right that I shouldn't do what I was doing because, first of all, David Howard Thornton was a SAG actor, so I had to make the production SAG, which cost a lot of money and a lot of hassle. I had to fly like 6 or 8 of the cast members out from other states, from New York, from Kansas,
Mm.
and they told me I was crazy for that, but I just had to have this perfect cast because uh, indie films are engineered where the system's set up for a lot of indie films to fail, because no matter how much imagination you have very limited budget, and then to go for a higher budget or to go to SAG, you have to struggle so much to do it
Mm.
that you end up getting, you know, you're forced to get amateur actors.
Mm.
So the way I was able to get some professional actors in this and mix them with non-union and just pretty much anyone I wanted to get, that's thanks to the fans. Because a studio, if I would have went to a studio and got funding for this, they would have never let me do anything like this.
Mm.
So the fans got behind it, and they believed in me, and they believed in helping me do it the way I wanted to do it, and not the way some studio told me to do it.
Yeah.
So you were able to continue to stay with the control of it and actually see your vision come to life.
Yeah, and then the people who are part of the crowdfunding project, they feel like it's there. Now they tell everybody our movie is coming out pretty soon, you know.
Oh, it is. It is. So that's the good part about it. Now, the Facebook group is The Dead Place. And to all of our viewers out there, this is a great place to be. So get all the latest on this. I'm excited. I really can't wait. So now, do your kids are they into horror movies, or you kind of keep them a little bit away from it?
Well, they're somewhat into horror movies. They're more fascinated with them. They've never really been scared by horror films because I've been making horror movies most of their lives, so they just think, even when they were little, they said, "Ooh, it's just like mommy's makeup. Look," because my wife used to do the makeup in my movies. So and they were in a few of my horror movies. Like my daughter was in had a recurring role in my TV show where she would come on, and the host would tell her to stop watching horror movies, and then she ended up going to him and asking him to teach her to kill. And then in the final episode of the series, she takes what she learned and gets some guy off the street and kills him.
Perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's a family affair. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's now. How old is your daughter? Now, younger or older? Or...
My daughter's 19 and my son is 22.
Oh, perfect age now to definitely help you.
Very
Yeah,
beautiful
and
family, by the way. Very beautiful family.
thank you. And my daughter Sydney brought a lot of people to this project because we started doing Sundays with Sid, where I just go on there and say all the news of the week, everything that's going on with the movie, and she just has her little colorful antics on the side, and she really got people interested.
Good. That's what I love. I love when the whole family gets together and just joins in on any projects, or it's a family business, right?
Yeah.
So it's great. It's great. So can you tell us a little bit about this movie?
Well,
A little more.
I wanted to mix elements of a paranormal film, of a possession film, of a slasher, a demonic film. I wanted to put all those things together, and it's really character driven. And what I like about it is it goes really violent and really gory. We had a really good stunt coordinator, Tony Snegoff. He goes all the way back to Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So he specializes in doing stunts with actors who don't have any stunt experience, because we were really worried with the amount of stunts that were in this movie, and we didn't have enough money to hire stunt performers. So Tony Snegoff came in, and he kind of just trained these boys on the spot to do this intense, realistic looking fighting. And he wasn't satisfied until it looked real. And even our editor sits there and watches the fights, and she said, "I've never had so much footage to work with on a fight. This is so awesome."
Cool.
But it gets violent and very gory, but there's a reason for the violence. There's a reason for the gore, and it kind of builds up to it. And it's the movie cares more about the story and about the characters than it does to get to the gore.
Now, since it's going to be 3 parts, so are you going to use the same characters throughout all 3 of them, or is it like the second one different characters, third one different characters, or all?
Well, spoiler alert: most of the characters die in the first one, but the main characters kind of survive and continue the struggle through part 2.
Okay.
And there's kind of some unlikely alliances formed throughout the series.
Now, I mean, out of all 3 of them, I guess, I'm sure they're all amazing. Which one were you like more drawn to?
Well, I had always thought that the third part was the best one. I always thought they went in order. The first one, the second one, the third one in that order, and the third one I always thought was the best. And then when we started looking into what projects we were going to do, and I got Steve Deering involved, and he does script coverage, which is he analyzes scripts and he gives his professional opinion on what you could tweak to make it better. So that's what he does for a living. He did the John Wick films. He did Hotel Artemis. He did a lot of big films. So he did that treatment for my script, and once he got through with it, he sparked so many ideas in me. I just had this night of inspiration, and I just really fully flushed out the script. And then after that night, then the first one became my favorite. So now I got to do that same treatment to part 2 and 3 to bring it up to the level of part 1.
Exciting. Now, when all is said and done and you've done all these, do you have any plans to do something else?
Well, I'm doing it's a true story called Poison Pond. It's about my grandfather's family. Back in the 20s, my grandfather's entire family got killed. My aunt she was attacked and was impregnated by this local guy. He was like a whiskey bootlegger. So she was impregnated by him, and he told her this: if you tell anybody this is my baby, I'm going to kill your whole family. So she tells everyone, and then one night he just sneaks under their house. He blows a hole in the floor, and he comes up through the floor and he kills everybody in the house. And my aunt was hiding up in the attic, and she's seen it all happen. So I was going to do I'm doing a true story on that.
Wow.
Oh, poor woman.
I'm doing that, and I also have that Voodoo Village that I had written when I got the reading from Sarah before. So I'm going to go back and finish that one. And then besides that, I have about 3 more ideas I want to work out. So I've got a full slate of films I need to do.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Voodoo Village? That sounds interesting.
Voodoo Village is it stars a black character who gets out of who's in college, and then he's from the Deep South. So he goes to the college in the city. So then he hears that in his town there's this place called Voodoo Village, and there's been some murders there. So he goes back to investigate because he knows that it's a holy place. So when he gets there, you realize that it's a holy place to the local poor black population. They built it themselves as a holy place, but all the white people, all the rednecks around, think it's an evil, horrible place. So they're always trying to vandalize it and everything. So it's a story about how true evil kind of infiltrates the place, and stop it. So real evil kind of infiltrates the place, and this guy goes back and saves his family.
Mm.
That sounds pretty too.
Sounds like a very good movie too. I'm listing all the movies here. I can't wait. I can't wait. You really have to tell us when that one is getting ready to go out.
Oh yeah.
So, wow. Now, do you get inspired by just walking along or driving along, or is it in particular, like, do you have to go to a haunted place, or it's just in general?
Yeah, I never know when the ideas are going to come to me. So sometimes, a lot of the stuff that I have on my roster for movies to do, they just pop in my head at weird times. Something weird will happen, and it'll make something else, some little idea pop into my head. But other times it's like somebody will give me, like for Voodoo Village, the guy gave me a little seed of an idea. All he said was, make a movie about this Voodoo Village in Memphis, Tennessee, but these people go to it and they realize that it's real. So I like to take little seeds of ideas like that and just expand on them. I like that challenge.
That's really nice. You're able to channel the idea and be very creative. That's nice talent. Nice talent. Nice gift.
Thank you.
And now you're willing to share it with the world. That's even more of a gift for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Now I know you're going to be like being the director and just the complete filmmaker, but do you plan on acting in any of these?
I have before in some of my other movies. Like I played a killer in a couple of my movies, and it's really too much for me, I think. Like trying to act and direct at the same time. I would like to to act in someone else's movie if someone wanted to cast me. Because I'm a decent actor. I try to just I try to be natural. I'm really good at being mean and evil, and I'm also good at the really heavily emotional scenes. I'm just not as good at just acting normal.
What's normal?
I don't know. The thought came to mind. I don't know.
I played the killer in my first movie, Stab Awake, and I had to sit there quiet. Like it was in all my friends were partying in a cabin, and I was possessed, and I was slowly being taken over by a demonic force, and I had to sit there and imagine that everyone in the room had done something really horrible to me, and that I was going to get revenge on them. That's what I had to do to get myself into that mindset, and that's kind of what makes me look creepy on screen.
And where can we find some of your older projects?
They're on my YouTube channel. I believe I sent you a link to our YouTube channel. We went when we started the crowdfunding campaign for the Dead Place. We called it Horror Show Pictures Purge, which we kind of purged a lot of our old skits and short films and stuff. So you can see those up there.
Okay.
Awesome. I'm just gonna post
I'll
that.
try to find it. Yes. Oh, don't worry. I'll get it. So tell us anything else you want to tell us here.
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody who's supported me so far. I mean, it's been a long, hard road. It's been a lot of depression, a lot of heartache, a lot of friends dying, and like it's weird that ever since that happened to me in the asylum, there has been a dark cloud over my life. Like I got a really bad back injury. I shouldn't even be walking right now. It's so bad, but I keep exercising and where I'm able to stay mobile. I've had some really close friends die mysteriously. It just seems like tragedy after tragedy, and every project I've gotten into in filmmaking, working for somebody else. I got ripped off, and it's just been such doom and gloom all these years, to the point where like when Sarah gave me that reading, I was in a really bad place. I mean, she seen it at the time, and she said, I see you crying yourself to sleep, and I had just cried myself to sleep the night before. So I was in a really bad place. So the dead place is kind of my redemption, and it just means so much to me that people gathered around it and treated it like so much like a family and given me so much respect. It's something that I've starved for my whole career, and I've had nothing but heartache. So it's nice to have.
There it is. Don't worry, I'll edit that.
You definitely deserve it, Michael, and I'm very, very happy for you. Very, very, very
Thank
happy.
you.
And it's great that you're going to leave all that behind now. All that negativity. You're going to use
Get like Reiki energy for his back.
Of course, I'll send him Reiki energy, and I'll even send you my link to my YouTube, where you could get all the Reiki sessions there. I stream them all the time, so, and you just play it whenever, and it will always work. Believe me.
And that dark energy really holds on. I'll tell you. Like even when I feel this redemption now, I feel like everything I've always wanted is finally happening, and I still got this baggage like dragging me down right behind me, just trying to bring me back down to where I was. It's hard to shake that dark energy once it's consumed you.
Yes, it is. But I think you will be able to get rid of it. I really feel that you're starting to climb up and leave that dark down there somewhere. So
yeah,
well, I kind of channel it into my work. That's why I'm glad I'm in the horror genre, because I can get those dark thoughts out.
Well, you are in your season, Michael. So good things coming for sure.
Yes,
that's great.
Well,
can't wait to hear all about it when they happen. You need to call. Like, bitch, you know what? Finally, something else.
And then she's gonna call me and say, "Guess what?"
We're definitely rooting for you, Michael, all the way. You know, I love and support you and your whole family and all your projects.
And I'm right there with her. So you got this. You're gonna make it all the way through, and you're gonna be super big, and then you're gonna remember this podcast and say, "Oh, they predicted it. They said it."
Yeah.
You have to come back on and promote all of them when they come out, for sure. And next time we need to have James too, so we can talk to him about the podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
And your other shows, that'd be awesome. Which I thought about that just as we started. I'm like, oh, we should ask James too, so y'all could have been like, you know, talking to each other about the podcast. But we would love to have you both back on. Yes. He's working with you on this as well, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, awesome. So what does he do? He's helping you with writing, or?
He's been helping me produce, and he took on the job of handling SAG all himself. So that was a huge project. So he handled SAG and payroll and everything, and that was probably the biggest nightmare of the whole production. And he took on a lot of that for me. I really appreciate that.
Oh, well, that's amazing. Yeah,
that is a big job, a big relief off your shoulders too.
Yeah. And I believe he was a Leo, right?
Yeah.
He was. Okay, so he's gonna have really awesome the rest of the year. So you make sure to tell him I said that.
Oh, cool. That's great to hear.
Yeah. You need his magic hands shining his
All right. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Michael. It's been a pleasure. Definitely going to have you back. And hold on for a second.
Don't hang up, Michael.
Yep, don't hang up. We'll be talking to you in a second. Thank you to everyone, and many blessings, and keep coming back. You never know who we're going to have. Bye.